Hey YouTube, thanks for clicking to watch this video. Welcome to my channel. I cannot say welcome back. I have to say welcome because welcome back doesn't feel right because it's been so long. So for today's video, for today's video, it's gonna be like a chatty get ready with me, but I'm gonna be featuring the new ABH. What is this? The Primrose palette that I just got my hands on yesterday. I had no plans of buying this palette. Honestly, there's nothing that's been out recently that has caught my attention, except for, with the exception of a couple of items. And this caught my attention because I am a neutral girl at heart. I mean, who needs another neutral palette? But the way I see it is, I needed a new neutral palette. Okay, and I'll show you what I mean when we get further into the thick of the video. So for my brows, I use the Benefit Precisely My Brow Pencil. This is the GOAT. This is my ride or die in the shade number 5. And I've also been enjoying this. This is their brow gel. It's called Cabral, and it comes in a little tube like this. And this part is a little brush, and I use this brush actually. And then the product is in here, and it's a little brow gel. A little bit goes a long way. But yeah, this is gonna be a chit chat get ready with me. I am my eyes before face type of girl, so I'm gonna dig into this palette first before I do anything else, and we'll chit chat as we go along. But let me give you a little info on the palette. So this palette, it retails for $55. I should have looked before on that camera, but I'm still Nikki. $54 or $55, which is more than, it costs more than the rest of her palettes, but it is larger. You still get 10 eyeshadows, and I won't blind you. Can this fold all the way back? You do get 10 shadows and 2 blushes. The shadow pans are larger than pans that we have seen in the past. And as far as I know, this palette is limited edition, and that makes me a little sad because this is my jam. Like, this is right up my alley. And it does come with a mirror. I didn't want to blind you, but it does come with a mirror. And I never use the mirrors except for if I'm on vacay or something like that. I just like my big makeup mirrors or medium makeup mirrors. So yes, you get, let me see, 10 eyeshadows, and you get 2 blushes at the end. Now these blushes, for my complexion, the deeper one, honestly, I can see both of them working as blushes, because blushes don't have to be as deep as you probably think they would to serve a deeper skin tone. This peach, which is called grapefruit, I think I can work with it. And even if I can't work with it on my cheek, which I'm gonna try today, I will use it on my eyes. But yeah, there is what looks to me 4 shimmers, and then we have a matte with some shimmer in it that probably does not translate shimmer onto the eye, but it's something with a micro sparkle. I think it makes it easier to blend. Don't quote me, I could be wrong. But this reminds me a lot of my favorite ABH palette, which is Soft Glam. And just for the record, I do like Anistasia palettes. Oh, I'm gonna make a mess. This is my palette. This is my palette. This is my go-to palette. I have been tempted to buy another one just because my palette looks like that, but I was like, no. Then they came out with a mini, but it doesn't have all the colors that I want in it. So, but that's my go-to every day. I could do it with my eyes closed, work with that palette. And I think this palette is gonna be very similar. The only thing I wish right off the top they had done is this blush here in Saddle, and this eyeshadow here in Rouge is so close together. And if this is limited edition, I would have liked to see a different color eyeshadow or a different color blush, because they're interchangeable and you could use blush on the eyes and eyeshadow on the cheeks, vice versa. So I wish that was a little bit different. And the same with this grapefruit shade. The grapefruit shade and mango are very, very close together. right here, these two. So the blush is grapefruit and this shade here is called mango. So I could have done without one of them, but knowing myself in true Nikki fashion, when it comes to ABH palettes, I'm gonna get use out of all the shades. Fluffy brush like this. I'm not gonna go through brushes too precisely, because I get a lot of people asking me about, you know, what brushes are good and what brushes do you use. And I have some high end and low end brushes, and I feel like you can get some really good brushes like what's that brand? This brand. It's at the tip of my tongue. You can get some good brushes from e.l.f. and I can't think of it right now, but they have some very good quality and expensive brushes. So for the first shade, I'm gonna go into Honey, which is this one right here, Honey, and I'm gonna work Honey under my brow, just to keep, ooh, I tapped some off, but just work that under my brow, and it could serve like as a brow highlight. I do not set my base. And let me just say this too, because I did watch 2 reviews on this palette. ABH shadows are super soft. If you swirl your brush in them, you could hit pan today. These shadows, you don't have to do a lot to make them work. You can literally just tap, and you see how much I got on my brush? You can literally just tap into the palette and get what you need. You do not need to be heavy-handed to get color payoff. So the next shade I'm gonna go into is, which direction do I want to go in? I think I'm gonna go into the pinky direction, which I've been doing a lot lately. I love the maroon, just monochromatic eye, maroon or burgundy. It looks so good. But I'm gonna stay to the purpley shade. So the next one I'm going to use is the matte with the shimmer, which is this one. I'm gonna work that into my crease. I just tap twice and work that up there. I was hearing people say how powdery these shadows are, but ABH shadows are powdery, but they're powdery with a purpose, if that makes sense. They're powdery but super pigmented. It's one thing for a palette to be, or a shadow to be super powdery, and then you blend it and the pigment is just gone, versus it's powdery, you can work around it. It's pigmented. It's not powdery. It's pigmented. And me, I always do eyes before face anyway, so fallout does not bother me. And when you know what you're working with, you know how to work with it if you choose to. And ABH is one of my favorite formulas, so I am willing to do what I do anyway, which is eyes before face. So that's that burgundy shade. It's a little bit, no, it's true to color, but I am building it up a little bit. That's my crease shade, and I'm just taking it with a fluffy brush and blending it all the way to from inner to outer. And my hand is at the end of my brush because I know how pigmented these shadows are. So if you hold your brush at the end of the handle, you get less, or the pigment goes on a little bit lighter. So I'm going to use a tighter brush. It's a little bit tighter. So I'm going to go into the next one, which is Deep Berry. Deep Berry is this shade here, and the camera does not do these shades justice. Or no, let me go into Claret. Claret is this one, and then I'll go into this one. I'll probably mix these two together somewhere in between, because I have to use this shade right here. This reminds me of what is it, Expensive Pink by MAC, and that used to be my jam. That used to be my jam. So where I've been around. My coffee's kind of cold. I've been around. I just couldn't look how pigmented, and that is the Claret shade, and I'm gonna work that in my. You can tap off if you want to, if you feel like it's just too much. I couldn't bring myself to get on camera and promote putting makeup on, and we had to cover ourselves up with a mask. It just didn't feel right. And working in that field, being in the health field, you get to see things more firsthand, I guess, versus what you see on the news. And it just bothered my soul. It just really bothered my soul, and I just couldn't bring myself to. It just didn't feel right. I just couldn't get on camera and do what I love to do because we had to cover it up. So after a whole year's gone by, I started doing my eyes before the year was up. I will say that before then, but I've been missing YouTube. I've really been missing it. So I've worked those two colors. I'm gonna keep working that. Start to mix that darker one. Yeah, so I've been wearing my eyeshadow and been playing more and more with eyeshadow and different things to keep it wearable, but still being creative. And that's when the light bulb went back off and said, you miss YouTube, don't you? Yeah, that was my excuse for buying makeup. It was my excuse for just playing in makeup just because it was just my excuse. So, not that any of us need an excuse, but it just made me feel better. Like, oh, I'm doing this because I need to, because people need to see it. So I'm going to take a tighter brush and go into that deep berry and just tap it on my outer V. You see that? Tap, 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 and then I blend. What I like about ABH shadows, with the exception of just, to me, one palette that I've used, is they are very, very pigmented. You don't need a lot to get that intensity. And with the right tools, you get exactly what you're looking for. So, I haven't had any fallout yet on my face. So had my face been done first, I would have been fine. Because these shadows are better if you go light and build up. That's what I learned with ABH formula. Now, don't get me wrong, I swirl some days. I do. I'm a swirler at heart. But you live and you learn. Gorgeous, honey, gorgeous. Gorgeous. Now, I'm going to go onto my lid with this shimmer shade, which is called Peony. Did I use Primrose? Oh yeah, the matte with the shimmer in it is called Primrose. So this one is Primrose. I am going to go into this one, I believe. Yes. This one reminds me of Expensive Pink by MAC. And it's like pink with gold and some rose gold reflect. So with ABH shadows, you want to be kind of gentle in your palette and take your time putting on your shimmers, because they're almost like cream to powder. So they're kind of wet. It's almost like shadows from ColourPop, the Super Shock shadows. But the payoff, look at that. 1/2 of a swipe, not even a swipe. And I like to bring this up a little bit because I have hooded eyes and it's going to transfer anyway. So I like to transfer it gracefully myself. And not one speck of fallout did I get. Yep. So yeah, I couldn't bring myself to get on camera and promote all the makeup launches that we were seeing during the thick of what was life-changing to us, during the thick of people losing their lives, people losing their jobs, people losing their minds. I could not. So I wasn't even watching YouTube. I mean, here and there I would, but I had to even stop watching YouTube because I was just so mentally disturbed by everything. But now I'm at a point where I feel like we got a little bit of a handle on things. A little bit, not completely. A little bit of a handle on things, and people can do stuff again. Not like freely like they were before. You have to proceed with caution, absolutely, but I'm just going in with that deepest shade, blending it on top of the other one so they can be nice and cohesive. And I did not take that pinky shade, that peony shade, all the way in because I'm going to go in with a little bit of a lighter shade. But I am just tapping over the peony with and it's called Deep Berry, to blend them in so it's not so harsh. But yeah, I could not bring myself. I mean, I sat down a couple of times, but I could not bring myself. And then the launches that were happening was like, nope, I don't want that. Don't want that. I feel like there was drops just for there to be drops, if that makes sense. It wasn't like a lot of thought put behind things, because to me, if I was a brand or if I had my own line of makeup during that time, it would have been about long wearing, budge proof, smudge proof makeup, knowing that everybody had to put a mask on. That's just my 2 cents, what I would have done. So I'm going to go in the front of my eye with Rose Water, which is that shade right on top of Peony. This is Rose Water. So it's still got some pink to it, but it's a little bit brighter. So I'm going to do that to open up the eye a little bit. And I'm tapping into it, picking up product. And this is not wet. I picked up way too much. Okay, there I got a little bit of fallout, but not much. Not much. Oh, it's sticking. It's okay. I'll wipe my face afterwards. Like I said, I don't really care about fallout because I'm a eyes before face type of girl. But also what I learned during the big life-changing effects of the world today is that I like my skin. Sounds crazy, right? I wore a full face every single day before life happened, and not even realizing, is this really what you like, or are you doing it because that's what's popular right now? Well, I came to the conclusion that I like my skin, so I do like muted or very low coverage foundation and a little bit more coverage in my concealer, but I do not like full coverage foundation. I'm not done with the eyes, but I will come back to it and you'll see how everything comes together. So yeah, I just could not bring myself to act like nothing was going on. And then when I did go on YouTube and I'm using the all-nighter, what is this, the all-nighter face primer by Urban Decay, which I love. So I did do something recently in August, right? Yeah, August. My family and I took a trip to Aruba, and that was the prep and the whole situation we're going through in life right now. It was a process. It was tiring to get ready. It was very tiring. It was very, very tiring. And the reason why I say that is because we all needed passports. And it was so, I won't say we planned last minute, but I know better now, so I'll do better later. So for foundation, and this is what I wore in Aruba. I do love this. I wore this in Aruba. It is the Fenty Eaze Drop foundation or skin tint. And I bought 2 shades. So me thinking everybody or a lot of people are thinking like I am. When it came out, I was like, okay, I'm going to get it. And then the next day it was sold out. And then when it came back in stock, there was only certain shades. So first I bought the shade, what is this? This is 430, I think. I don't know. I think one is 24, one is 25, if I can remember. No, this is 19. And this is 21. So the darker one is 21, and then this is 19. So when I use this, I look dirty. So that told me that's too dark for me. So I used this, and I thought it was going to be too light. But I guess with a skin tint, and she did say with a skin tint, you can be a little more, it's a little more flexible. So we'll see, because like I said, I did go to Aruba, and I'm kind of lost my tan, but I'm in denial because I was nice and golden. So what I did was just dot this on my face, not much on my forehead. I think that's a lot. In Aruba, I use a sponge, but today I'm going to use one of these charcoal infused brushes by the brand, I don't know, BDB, vegan charcoal infused bristles. Bristles infused with charcoal for antimicrobial effect. It came with 5 brushes. We'll see. Okay, I am going to blend it with a brush just because I'm going to go over it with a beauty blender because that's what I do. But we'll see. So you see how yellow it looks? I don't know. But like I said, I was tanned in Aruba and I wore this. I did take both shades with me, but I wound up for the most part wearing this because I cream contoured. And I'll use whatever is left over on the forehead, not actually putting product on the forehead. And just watch how it goes into the skin. I'm going to catch a jack if it don't blend in now because I said it's going to blend in. Catch the jack. That's a New York thing. So I am going to take this beauty blender that I use to tap out my eye concealer, and I'm going to just go over it so it's not streaky, because that brush is not as stiff as I like to use. So as far as contour, your girl been eating throughout this pandemic, and she been eating good, and it is what it is. Oh, about to play myself with the wrong side. This is my Pur Cameo stick. Yes, I'm still using it. I know there's no new stuff on the market, but I just like the stick, and I have it. And if you have stuff, go ahead and use it. Tomorrow's not promised. And I'll take it down here. And I guess I'm gonna put a little bit there. This is how I got away with that shade. How we blend in. So for this process, I use a pretty stiff brush. This is a crown brush, and it's really stiff. It can handle a cream. So I'm gonna start with those 2 dots. Let's put 2 dots on my forehead. Just tap them in, and then I'll take this and make sure whatever is excess on the brush, just bring it down and buff it up. I just like the way the stick blends out. It's not too hard to blend out. It doesn't move around like crazy. It stays in place. I just like it. And this side, I'm looking in my mirror, I'm sorry. Blend up. And why do we blend up? Because you want to create those shadows in your face, and when you blend out, when you put your highlight on or your concealer under the eyes, it's just gonna flow better. Now we need some concealer. This has been my ride or die concealer throughout this whole life situation, and the reason being is because with that mask, it does not move. I mean, does not move. And this is the Naked Stay Naked Concealer by Urban Decay. I have mine in the shade 80W. The W stands for warm. And then I go under the eye like that. That's what I do every day for work. Well, less than that, but my eyes and a little bit of under eye concealer. No foundation. And I don't even go under the eyes for a highlighted effect, because as you can see, this is very similar to my skin tone. But for work, that's all I need. I don't need to be super highlighted. But for today, I'm going to take my NARS concealer in the shade Walnut to bring some brightness to this. And I'm going to tread lightly. Put it on the inner portion, because Walnut is almost like a straight up yellow. And the shade you use is determined by your undertone. But y'all all know that. I'm going to take this and cover my... Wow, I got so much hair in my nose. Oh, jeez. And cover this up. But I haven't been doing that either, because it's been covered by a mask. I'm going to go on my forehead just a tiny bit. And mix in some of that yellow, just so I can have a little bit of a highlight. So I've been looking for, well, I go buy lashes all the time, but I'm always looking for a more natural looking lash. So Ardell's been coming out with some fire lashes, and if you know me, you know it's very rare that I buy high-end lashes, just because I don't think it's worth it personally, unless they're on sale. But Ardell lashes are my favorite, excuse me. And they do have so many different ones now. They have the Naked line, they have the Mega line, the 3D, the 4D, the 5D. But my favorite lashes lately have been the My Lash But Better No Filter, which are these ones. People always ask me, what lashes do you buy? From the beauty spot store, or these I got in Ulta, but they sell them in the beauty spot store. It's My Lash But Better, the new Day to Day Lash, My Lash But Better, Super Fine Band, Everyday Wearable Volume. And that's exactly what it is. Like, you can't even tell. But today I'm going to be using the Ardell Lift Effect. They're supposed to be eye-opening lashes. I have used them before, but y'all can give me your opinion on whether or not you think it's eye-opening. And I know some people are like, why does she still have that stuff sitting on her face? But trust the process. I had took 2 gel liners out by Melt. This one is called Spliff. It came with the 420 collection, and this one's called Burnish, which is kind of red. Don't know why I pulled those 2 out. But I'm going to go ahead and blend my concealer out so we could move on. On my mouth, I need a flesh tone powder. So for under my eyes, I had took out the flower powder just because where I live, this weather, I don't know whether it want to be fall, winter, spring, summer. And today is pretty hot. So for the heat, I normally pull out like a flower powder from Beauty Bakerie, and it has a yellow. I have mine in yellow, so I have the powder. I'm gonna dab it on my hand so I don't have too much. I'm gonna stand that. For every day, I go in with my Pat McGrath pressed powder and go under my eye with a brush. I don't stamp anything on, but for going out, yes, I do stamp it on because I don't want it to move when eating and drinking and all that jazz. So my flesh tone powder is to go around my mouth. And my smile lines. And then to sculpt out my face a little bit more, I'm gonna take that yellow powder and I'm gonna put a little bit. I need to turn this over and get some more and go up under. Like I'm gonna make a mess if I do that. Oh, no, I didn't. So we're gonna go back to that palette. In that palette, we are going to take Claret right here, and then I think I'm gonna take Mango and go under the lash line and just put a little bit of color under there. Or let me do what I normally do, which is put a pencil down first to make the top of the eyes pop. And today I'm going to use this purple pencil. This is called Psychedelic Sister by Urban Decay, the 24/7 glide on eye pencils, and I personally like to use them on my lower lash line versus my waterline. I just like that look, and like I said, that's my way. I get to bring a pop of color to my eyes when I'm doing a super neutral look. I am infamous for that. I also want to tap some more of that Peony on my eye because I feel like I lost some of it. Now, I promise you, if I was not on camera doing my makeup, I would be done by this lighter shade. This lighter pinky shade. And I'm going to go under my lash line. And then I'm going to go under it with Mango, which is that color there. So, just to tie the eye together. So, I got that purple liner on, which made the bottom lash line pop. And then I'm taking Claret bottom lash mascara. I'm going to use the Benefit They're Real first. I like to lay a mascara. It's in a tube like this. Then I'm going to let that dry and go in with some Thrive. So I'm going to sweep off some of this powder. But first, I'm going to bronze my face up a little bit. For bronzer, I'm going to go in this brush. It's a Morphe brush. This is the ABH bronzer in Mahogany. And I'm just going to go like on top of where that powder is. And underneath. So I'm just setting my cream contour that I used. And adding some warmth to the face at the same time. So I go light-handed, but it does what it needs to do. And now we're gonna go into that blush. Of course, I'm going to go into the Saddle, but I think I'm going to mix the two together. Do you see it? Okay, Saddle. Okay, that's a lot. And I like to put my blush right above my contour and kind of blend them together. And I'm mixing because Saddle is kind of, it's not the vibe I'm going for. I think it's pretty. Now for lips. Lips. Did I take anything out for lips? I'm not going to line my lips, but I'm going to put on a nude lipstick by Mented. This is called, I don't know. Is it Peach Please? I might need a liner. It's got some pink on it. Peach Please, and I'm gonna put, it's pulling a little bit pink because it has some pink on it. Then I'm gonna top it with a gloss if I can find it. I'm gonna top it with Fenty Glow, the original. I love burgundy. So my 2 cents on what we really came here for, which is the ABH Primrose palette. This is a no-brainer for me. I think the blush is beautiful. I mixed the two of them together. I don't have highlight on today because I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere for makeup either. Maybe I'll go to Target. But I love the packaging. It's like a raised, it almost reminds me of a really nice designer bag, or really nice, good quality made luxury bag. I like the rose gold on the 2 ends, that detail. This, I like that the pans are bigger than the normal ABH palettes. I do like that you get 2 blushes, although I wish that the 2 blushes weren't so close to eyeshadow colors that are in the palette. I also wish maybe we had a blush and a highlight. That way you could go with a light hand if the blush is deep. I don't know, but that's just me being picky. If I had anything to say about it, the shadows are super soft and the mattes are, I'm not gonna say powdery because most of ABH's products, eyeshadows, can be called powdery. You can hit pan in one day if you swirl your brush in it like you're not supposed to, but you know better, so do better. This is a win for me. I do not regret making this purchase. I'm gonna get a lot of use out of it. It's gonna look like my soft glam palette, to be honest with you, because for day-to-day use, even though we have to wear a mask, I still, you know, play up my eyes just because that's all I can play up. And like I said, I like my skin. So if you were on the fence about this palette and you wasn't sure, you're like maybe not, it costs more than the regular palettes. Oh, this is a holiday release for her. I don't see how you get holiday out of this, but YOLO. Do what you like, do what feels good. If you want to buy this palette, buy it. If you don't want to buy it, don't buy it. But I'm telling you, it is good. It is good, especially for us D+10 girls. So thank you for clicking to watch this video. Thank you for spending some of your time with me. Hopefully it won't be long before you see me again. Until next time, thank you guys so much. And hopefully you'll receive me the way you received me in the past, because I'm gonna try. You know, the men too. I'm gonna try. That's my plan, that's my intentions. So everything else we use in this video was not new. I forgot to use the Cobb contour highlight palette that I had, but I'll use it in another video. I do have the Natasha Denona retro palette. Y'all want to see? Okay. Thank you. Bye guys, and smooches. I did say I was gonna do some live swatches. I don't know if people do that anymore, but we're gonna give it a go. Live swatches on the Primrose palette. So here is the palette, and I'm going to swatch from my left to my right, which is from here to here. So I'm going to swatch this bottom row first, and then that row, and I'll call the names out, and I'm going to swatch the 2 blushes at the end. So the first shade is Rose Water. Oh, my elbows. Rose Water. Pretty. Next shade is Honey. Kind of like it. The next shade is Sparkling Amber, which I don't get amber from this. I get like this one is really soft. Well, yeah, it is amber, but it looks more gold in the palette. Then the next one is Primrose, which is the palette's namesake. This is it on my finger. And I wipe off. Oh, it comes off good on a dry paper towel. And the next one, the last shadow in that row, is gonna be Mango. Then I'm gonna go to the next row. The first one is Peony, which happens to be the shade that I'm drawn to the most in this palette. So this is Peony, which is like a rose gold. It reminds me of Expensive Pink by MAC. I don't know, it's nostalgic to me. The next one is Rouge. The next one is Fire Opal, which I would consider more of an amber. Fire Opal. And the next one is Deep Berry. And I'm going really, really lightly on these shadows because if you know ABH, her shadows are super soft. And then last but not least is Claret. So here are the 10 shades. I know my swatches look kind of janky, but whatevs. It is what it is. So now I'm going to swatch the two blushes. Did my fingers stay in there with that? The two blushes I will swatch here. So here is Saddle. And I'm rubbing more in the blushes. Not hard, but blush. It's blush. That's Saddle. And then I'm going to swatch Grapefruit, which is the lighter one. Grapefruit. Let me do a better Saddle. Saddle. That's the two blushes, and these are the shadows. Don't look at my elbow. Here we go, live swatches. They swatch pretty good. They look pretty good. And they work pretty good. Buy it. Bye.